near the project entrance off of Northwest 65th Street. The applicant is also proposing a reduction of 15 parking spaces to reflect the correct number of parking spaces provided on the property and to update the number of parking spaces to be demolished. The project will provide in excess of 107 parking spaces with this amendment. The applicant, lastly, is proposing the construction of a 6-foot sidewalk immediately to the west of the existing ficus trees along Congress Avenue, south of the project entrance, in lieu of providing a sidewalk to the east of the ficus trees. And this site design is proposed to satisfy Palm Beach County requirements for landscaping that is adjacent to right-of-ways. The site is currently developed with office buildings that total approximately 221,276 square feet. There are 2 access points into this existing site, one along Congress Avenue and one at the western terminus of Northwest 65th Street. Both of these entrances currently provide both ingress and egress from the site. The residential building footprints are shown on gray on this slide. The proposed residential building and parking structure will be located at the northwest corner of the property. The proposed project meets all zoning requirements such as building setbacks and is not requesting approval of any technical deviations with this project. Access into and out of the site will be provided using the existing driveway on Congress Avenue. This intersection is currently not signalized, but if Palm Beach County determines that a traffic signal is warranted at this intersection with this project, then the applicant will be required to fund and construct the traffic signal. The second access point on Northwest 65th Street, as I previously stated, provides currently both ingress and egress for the site. This will be modified so that only ingress for the residential development is allowed on this driveway. All egress from the site will be provided from the driveway along Congress Avenue. The existing and proposed pedestrian walkways are shown in yellow on this slide. The applicant will construct either new sidewalks or expand existing sidewalks along Congress Avenue and Northwest 65th Street to provide 6-foot wide sidewalks with landscape buffers. Here's a rendering of the proposed building. This was presented to the Community Appearance Board on December 21st of 2021. The CAB had favorable comments regarding the proposed building architecture and landscaping and unanimously recommended approval of this building and project. As previously stated, the City Council previously approved one modification to development parameters to not provide a sidewalk on the north side of the driveway along Congress Avenue. The applicant's justification for not providing a sidewalk in this area is due to the existing lake to the north and existing ficus trees, as you can see on this PowerPoint slide. If the applicant was to provide the sidewalk, then the trees would have to be removed because there isn't adequate space for both the sidewalk and trees south of the lake. Staff supported this request because on the south side of this driveway, the applicant is proposing a 10-foot wide pedestrian bicycle path near the existing office buildings to connect to Congress Avenue, which exceeds the required 6-foot width. Further, the applicant is proposing sidewalk and street trees throughout the site that do not exist today, and staff believes these improvements will further walkability in this area. This modification will be reaffirmed with the currently proposed PMD Master Plan Amendment and Site Plan application. Consistent with the previous approval, the proposed redevelopment is expected to result in a net increase of 1,606 daily trips, a net increase of 113 a.m. peak hour trips, and a net increase of 137 p.m. peak hour trips compared to the vested development. The study was reviewed by the Palm Beach County traffic engineer, who found that the project meets the Palm Beach County Traffic Performance Standards Ordinance, subject to certain conditions of approval which have been incorporated as part of the resolution. The applicant is proposing the abandonment of a 12-foot water and sewer easement, which contains an active water line, and a 12-foot sewer easement, which contains an active sewer line. These existing active lines will be required to be relocated with this project, and new water and sewer easements required where the new lines will be relocated. Consistent with the previous PMD master plan approval, pursuant to the PMD regulations, a minimum of 100 points are required in a PM matrix to demonstrate that the project achieves the mobility objectives of the city's comprehensive plan. The applicant has demonstrated that the project meets this requirement. Consistent with the previous master plan approval, the applicant has also requested 2 VETSIMs, or variation from the Engineering Design Standards Manual. The city's engineer has approved these VETSIMs based on the applicant's justification. To summarize the mobility improvements and contributions, the applicant is proposing sidewalk improvements, including a 6-foot wide or wider sidewalk on the property, a 4-foot landscape buffer zone with street trees throughout the property, a new 6-foot sidewalk south of the project driveway along Congress Avenue, the replacement of existing sidewalk to provide 6-foot sidewalk north of a project driveway along Congress Avenue, and a 6-foot sidewalk along Northwest 65th Street with street trees where possible. Please note that these last improvements for the street trees and the sidewalk along Congress Avenue and Northwest 65th Street were not required, as it is not adjacent to the applicant's property. Those areas are adjacent to the lake, but the applicant is proposing those improvements with this project. In terms of bicycle infrastructure, 132 bicycle parking spaces are proposed when 62 spaces are required. The applicant is proposing an annual contribution to the city's transit programs, which is approximately $48,000, and the continued maintenance of a bus shelter along Congress Avenue. To conclude, the proposed site design for this project promotes pedestrian activity. The applicant has improved existing site conditions by providing new sidewalks or improving existing sidewalks with landscape buffer with street trees throughout the site, along with off-site sidewalk and landscaping improvements. The construction of a multifamily project within an area developed with existing employers, office developments, and nearby retail centers, along with the Tri-Rail station, we have this commuter and shuttle service, the El Rio Trail, that this project is consistent with the type of mixed-use activity center intended by the creation of the planned mobility land use designation. This concludes my presentation. I would like to add that the Planning and Zoning Board and staff is recommending approval of the project with the conditions of approval and the accompanying resolution. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Council members, any questions? All right, seeing none, we will open up the public hearing. I'm sorry.
I have a quick question.
I thought you said no.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, quick question. And I think it's back to slide number 8, so it might be easier, me asking the question. Where you're adding the 10-foot bike path, is that a pedestrian path as well?
Yes.
Okay. And $48,000 transit fee, where does that money go? How is that spent?
I think it is best to
Brandon Chad, Development Services Director. It supports the shuttle system and that serves.
Okay, I just wanted to hear it out loud. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, we'll open up the public hearing. We'll first invite the applicant to come first and speak. Welcome, Ms. Zacharitis. You know the drill. Please give your name and address.
Thank you.
You'll
Good
up to
evening.
20 minutes in case you need it. So.
Thank you. Good evening, Ellie Zacharitis, Danae Miskell-Backman, 14 Southeast 4th Street. I was prepared to give a very thorough presentation today, but as usual, Tomasz did an excellent job, and I thank you. I just want to say really quickly, this was already approved for 277 units. That is what we're proposing. So with that, I'm here to answer any questions, and thank you all.
Council members, any other questions? All right, thank you. We'll let you reserve the balance of your time since you have that under our rules. At this point, we'll open up the public hearing. I did receive one card on this from Mr. Ungen. If you'd like to speak, you can do so. I understand you have counsel here too, so I'll leave it up to you on how you want to proceed. Yes. All right, thank you. Please, yes, please. Take the lectern, give your name and address. You'll have up to 5 minutes. Please, hand them to, I can call you by name then without. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. Members of the commission. I first wanted to begin by, first of all, I'm counsel for Millennium 2 LLC. It owns 6501 Congress Avenue.
And Mr. Abrams, just for the record,
Sure.
give your name and address, please.
Yes, Ryan Abrams. My office is at 888 Southeast 3rd Avenue, Suite 400, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'll just begin by, we'd like to formally request and make request from this commission that we be allotted 45 minutes between myself and approximately 3 witnesses that we'll have today to be able to put on our case and be recognized as a party in opposition to the project that we're here to discuss today. And the reason is that my client is a directly affected party within 100 feet of the property that we're here to consider today. We cited to the city attorney some case law that we believe supports our ability to get some time today. Now, we understand it might not be the full amount of time that we're seeking, but if we could at least have a sufficient amount of time beyond the 10 minutes to be
Right.
able to.
And Mr. Abrams, I know, I'll just reiterate what I know the city attorney told me that she told you, is that our rules don't provide for party or intervener status. They also don't provide for 45 minutes. Time can be extended at the discretion of the board. And I understand that you have plans to have each of your individuals present for a certain amount of time. Why don't we start there and see how you proceed?
Okay, sounds good. I'd like to first just call up our traffic engineer who's going to give a presentation, and my associate, Ms. Yenny Herrera, will be asking him some questions to guide him along the way.
Well, so that's, I think Ms. Feature explained to you, we don't need direct testimony. Each person can just speak, once they've been sworn in, they can speak without prompting of questions. And I think that's the way we normally proceed. That's how we should proceed here.
Okay, well, I'll just say that because we're requesting party status, we just want the ability to be able to question witnesses, along with the ability to cross-examine, that I think
Right.
the city already recognizes.
Our rules provide for cross-examination, and I understand those have been furnished to you. They don't provide for they don't provide for direct examination. So again, anyone who wishes to speak can just speak freely.
Okay.
So you don't need to use your time for
Sure.
direct.
Okay. So
And
I'm gonna-
and
I'm
if I
gonna-
may, while
Please,
I just want to just specifically address the issue about party status, just so everybody is clear. Party status is so that the person requesting, a person who's potentially an adverse party, who may have rights judicially, but in this proceeding and in the decisions that are applicable here, are not equivalent to the applicant. So they certainly have the right to hear. This is a public hearing. They're going to speak. They're going to be given time, but it's not equivalent to the applicant under the case law. And so that's why we don't have procedures for party status. We could if I know of no cities that do, but I haven't researched it. We certainly do not. But we're certainly going to provide an opportunity for due process and for them to be heard.
So
Okay,
that-
that's
yes.
what we're asking for, due process, so thank you.
You have that, sir. So yes,
Okay,
whoever would like
thank
to
you,
speak
Mr. Mayor.
first can, and we'll let you reserve the balance of your time here.
Thank,
so.
I appreciate that. I'm going to call up Arturo Perez to come up and give a few statements.
And Mr. Perez, please give your
Please
name and
provide
address.
that, excuse me, to the city clerk, please. Thank you.
Wanna go?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Arturo Perez. I'm a professional traffic engineer with 35 plus years of experience. And my work address is 2253 Chantilly, that's Chantilly, Terrace, and that's in Oviedo, which is about 12 miles northeast of Orlando, Florida, 32765. I have both a BS and a master's in civil engineering from the University of Central Florida. Go Knights. And I'm considered an expert in both traffic engineering and transportation planning. I actually worked on the long-range plan for the Palm Beach County, the last 6 ones in a row. So 2015, 2020, 2025, 2030, 2035, and 2040. Only consultant to have ever done 6 plans in a row for any MPO. I have been accepted as an expert traffic engineer in quasi-judicial, administrative, or court proceedings over 10 times. I reviewed the, not only the agenda for tonight, but also the traffic study that was submitted by the applicant to the city. It was done by JMD Engineering, Inc. And I prepared a technical memo with the findings, which I think that's what was passed around. Okay, so I don't know if you'd like me to just go over it, the packet?
It's your time, sir, so whatever you feel comfortable doing,
Okay.
sir.
So I was asked, like I said, to review the information. So I reviewed that document. I reviewed the letter that the county wrote to the developer asking to make certain changes to the roadway system before they could get any building permits. One of the things was the